Hey, it's Dan. So in this video we're going to talk to you about setting up your own personal finance economy. Hey everybody, it's Dan. So what is a personal finance economy? Well, it is basically where, like you live in the UK or wherever it happens to be, whichever country, that country has an economy, okay? But also, whatever state or county you live in, so I come from Yorkshire, that's got its own personal economy as well. And then I come from Leeds, so Leeds has also got its own personal economy. And then the area of Leeds that I come from, that's got its own personal economy. And then breaking it down even further, I've got my own personal economy too. So what does that mean? So that means there's a certain amount of money that comes in, a certain amount of money goes out. Whatever happens with the money that comes in, it's up to you, or up to the city, or up to the county, or up to the country, or up to Europe, or up to the planet, how they allocate those funds, okay? You've still got stuff to pay out, everyone's got stuff to pay out, but it's how you allocate the money that's coming in, and it makes no difference if you're a country, if you're a city, or if you're a person. You've got to understand your own personal economy. So when people have trade agreements, like the UK currently has trade agreements with the EU, that's probably not going to last very long. We need to go out and negotiate some trade agreements with other people. That is about transactions that we do that deal with money coming in and money coming out. Now think about that from a personal point of view. Who have you got trade agreements with? So we've got trade agreements with clients, for example, and they pay monthly for the content and digital marketing. They are our partners. They pay us money to come in, money goes out, and there's a little bit of profit that makes it all worthwhile to do. They in turn have a trade agreement with us because they pay us, and they in turn have trade agreements with they have trade agreements with their clients too, right? So we've got money coming in, money going out. Now the problem is for most people is that you don't understand how this actually works. If you're in a job right now, you've got a trade agreement with your boss and that company. And if you lose that job, you've only got one trade agreement. Like if you've got stocks and shares, you've got other trade agreements, effectively. You've bought into a company, and because you've bought into that company, they're going to give you either a dividend or the stock price might rise. If you bought property, you're in trade agreements with tenants, and the bank, by the way, and the plumber to fix things, and the washing machine guy, and all that other stuff, right? So you've got your own personal finance economy. Now the key for you is not to get really worried about what's going on in the country or the county or Leeds. What you've got to worry about is, like the question is, can you do business with people outside of your city? Well, of course you can. What about people outside your county? Of course. We've got clients around the world, for example, and so we've got trade agreements around the world, and so that works very well for us. So why can't you do the same? And lots of people are doing the same. The problem is they've got one trade agreement with just one person, or one entity I should say, and that trade agreement is usually a job of some kind, or it's a couple of properties, or whatever that happens to be, but it's not a huge amount of people. Parking space, here we go. You get to see me reverse park while recording. How cool is that? So this is what you need to be implementing, is your own personal finance economy. You've got to be looking after it. It doesn't matter what's going on with the economy, because what's your economy doing? Just as, it's like if I've got a country in Europe, like does the economy in Europe make a difference to how my country's going? Potentially, okay? And so does your personal finance have a degree of connectivity to how the UK is doing and how your city's doing? To some extent. But it's only like 15-20%. The other 80% is down to you. But unless you're creating your own financial economy, it's all down to somebody else. Who's in charge of your life? And I don't want anybody to be in charge of my life. I definitely don't want the government to be in charge of my life. Hell, they can't even feed poor people, for God's sake, or house homeless people, or they're putting people on if they're late for an appointment with a DSS and we've got 6 months to live, they get a benefits cut. That's crazy. They're killing people. So I don't want to be in that situation where I'm having to rely on somebody else, a third party, who I do not trust in the slightest. Like, would you trust your government really to look after you if you had no money? Of course you wouldn't. So why are you kind of trusting them and kind of not? You need to develop your own personal economy and absolutely 100% take charge of your own income. Because if healthcare goes the way I think it's going to go and the NHS gets sold off, but it's free at the point of delivery. Yeah, it is. But everyone's having to pay a lot more as a gross percentage of the GDP for the NHS because we're having to pay a lot more for drugs and so on. Like, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to be in a situation where actually I've got private medical healthcare, which I have here in Spain, by the way. It's only like 40 quid a month. I would rather be in a position where, no, actually I can afford to pay that. And actually, do you know what? My shares in legal and general insurance, let's say, that pays for that every month. How cool would that be? That should be a goal of yours. That's your personal financial economy, money coming in from shares to pay out money going out that's going to protect you as a person. That's how you want to be running it. That's why you need to start developing on your personal financial economy. It makes no difference who's in charge. Jeremy Corbyn could have been Prime Minister this morning. It would have affected how I operate. We would have changed how we operate so we can counter the stuff that he would have brought in. As it happens, he didn't win anyway. But you've got to develop your own personal finance economy, and that's the thing that's going to look after you into old age. Hope that's useful. I'm at the basketball court. Let's go kick some ass, and we'll speak to you on the next video. Take care.